gracious and bless us and make his face shine on us. Let his ways be known and his glory seen over the earth. I am so glad to welcome you on One Faith on Advocate Broadcasting Network. And my name is Ijoma Etuk. It is a joy to have you on the show. So today we look at how to identify your assignment and purpose on earth. You see, God does not create anyone by accident. Each life is crafted with intention, impact, and influence. But purpose isn't automatically discovered. It must be sought, confirmed, and worked out by faith. One of the most urgent and personal questions every believer asks is this: why am I even here? Each of us was created for a divine purpose, a God-ordained assignment that aligns with his kingdom agenda and brings fulfillment to our journey on earth. But how do you discover that purpose? How do you walk in your assignment with clarity and confidence? On this episode of our faith-based TV show, we sit with Pastor Dao Machuku, a seasoned minister and prophetic teacher, to dive deep into the heart of this question: how to identify your assignment and purpose on earth. The purpose is why you were created. Assignment is how your purpose shows up in the season. Pastor Dao, it is a joy to have you again on the show. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me this afternoon.
So how exactly do you feel being here, Pastor Dao? How exactly do you feel being here? And to think that we're talking about purpose, how to identify our assignment, because a lot of us are walking on this earth without even knowing the reason for which we are created in the first place. So how exactly does this topic make you feel?
My being here at this time of my life is something to actually talk about, because it's also part of what we're talking about. You know, we talk about assignments. According to what you say, is the ability for each purpose to show up per season. Okay, so this season of my life, I'm here on assignments doing. Now, purpose is not here. This is assignment, because I'm dispensing my purpose. Okay, I'm carrying out my purpose here. Okay, that means I can do it through other means also. Okay, so that's where people need to understand the difference. Okay, and many times people mistake potentials for purpose. Okay, they mistake gifts. Gifts is not your purpose, but your gift will be necessary to fulfill your purpose. Platforms are not your purpose.
Yeah.
For example, this is a platform. Okay, so we must be able to distinguish between assignments, purpose, gifts, talents. Talents are not your purpose. Okay, so many times we call the vehicle the main thing. Those things are vehicles through which you can transmit your purpose from one person to another, from one place to another. But the main thing is the purpose. And that purpose is something we should look into. Okay, very, very important. Very, very important.
Okay, now, Pastor Dao, we're going to bring this nearer home, right? And I'm going to be asking personal questions that will help our viewers to understand exactly what we're talking about. On this exact show, I was interviewing a pastor at some point, and I said to him, how did you discover your purpose, and at what point? So, and he said to me, the things that he went through in life, the things that were supposedly not pleasant, actually helped him to discover his purpose. You know, for instance, you're going through a particular situation, like a woman who is looking to be blessed by the fruit of the womb, right? And this woman has been there, you know, just waiting for God to bless her. And she has waited for 18 years, and eventually she gets pregnant and begins to give birth to her children. So that woman, you know, begins to now teach younger married people how to be able to wait. So, and he said to me, the things that you go through in life, the things that God is taking you through, helps you to be able to discover the path that God is leading you. So I now asked a very sensitive question. So do we have to go through affliction in quotes, to be able to discover our purpose, Pastor Dao? So I am passing it to you. How did you discover your purpose, Pastor Dao? And when was this? How early did you discover your purpose? And what helped you to discover your purpose?
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. I think, like I said, many times you add up things. You add up this, you add up this, you add up this. Okay, because many times when you say maybe my experience or what you went through, it may not be peculiar to everybody.
Yeah.
Now, look at, if you watch yourself, many times we need to do an inward study of ourselves. How have your life been going? What are the directions it's been going? Okay? What are the things? What are the things that came up that added to another one, that added to another one, that added to another one? Because these are things that reoccurring in your life. Okay? That kind of time, things keep coming up again and again and again.
Yeah.
Okay, so by the time you add up those things, it can actually help you. So as a child, I started preaching when I was in primary school. Okay, so there was no time I sat down to say I discovered. Okay,
you started preaching in primary school.
Yeah, so the thing is just there. As I said, for mine, it keeps coming up again and again and again. The only difference is that it becomes more clear. Okay, it becomes clear. Okay, now many times I also tell people, pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to yourself. Even though sometimes training can also contribute, because there's people who say pay attention to themselves. By the time they pay attention to themselves, it's only negative things they'll see. But sometimes some parents are not intentional about taking their children through the paths of their life. Okay, but the truth is this. Okay, by the time you notice your drive, what drives you? Naturally, okay, you notice how Moses was able to discover his. He didn't even know that was actually anything.
Okay.
But there was a drive there. He saw people fighting over things. He knew that I cannot sit here. Naturally, another person will see them and pass. For example, I can never see people fighting and I will put might. I can never do that. I can never do that. Many times I'm afraid. I don't want to be, the one that wants to separate them, then I'll become a victim of circumstance, okay? But that guy, he sees people, he had something that was telling him, you have something to do there. Okay, so he goes there to be the one to separate, and then he entered into a problem, okay? And yet he didn't discourage him. But the next day, he also had to go again. Now, if it was not his angle, after that first day, he will sit down and tell himself, from today. Okay, so that there is always a drive that persuades you, that makes you believe that I've got something to do in this place. There's something about it. There's something. So even as a child, even in children department, I also became a pastor there. Okay, I can remember when I was in baptismal class, I ended up being the one teaching the class. Like the baptismal class I should be learning, I ended up teaching. So all the pastor did was just to baptize us. So I taught my class actually. Okay, so that's natural intelligence, natural articulation has been there. Okay, but circumstances keep bringing me opportunities
to show yourself,
to show them off. So by the time you study your pattern, how your life has been going, except you are living in lies. Okay, but if you sincerely study your life, how your life has been going, you notice that those things are there, because these are things you are born with. Because we must trace purpose to birth. That's why if you watch how the Bible made it clear, he pointed God as an intentional God.
Yeah.
So it's not as if when you got to 12 years, he gave you something. No. He says, before I formed you, I knew you. That means these are the very things I was created with.
Inherent.
It's inherent. Okay, I didn't have to pray about it to receive it. No.
Yeah.
If you prayed about it to receive it, it's not.
And every one of us, we have what we have been created.
That's what I'm saying. There is a masterpiece with which God created you. Okay, there is something that God had in mind when He was forming you. Okay, for example, He said, "I'm the potter, you are the pot." He says, "It's not the pot that tells the potter what he should mold. It's the potter that molds." So a potter is molding something. He's not satisfied. He destroys it, he will mold until he gets what he wants.
Yeah.
Okay, so look at something. So I'm the potter now. I want to mold cup. I mold cup. So I mold the cup, and I will say this is cup, and cup has its description, and cup also has its qualities. That's something about gifts and talents also.
Yeah.
So the way cup looks like is different from the way plate looks like. So have I seen why I say that gifts are not enough?
Yeah.
Yes. For example, I sing. Our ministry have over 200 songs. Okay? But we are not musicians. So if I should just say because I sing, I should go into the music, I'm going to find it hard. because that's not my purpose. But it can be a vehicle through which, because all our songs, we now notice that all our songs has to do with what we teach. So song for us is a vehicle through which we make, to make it sink in the mind of people what we do. And then we also have some special skills. Okay, so when I think that is my purpose, no, I can be wrong, because those are vehicles to convey the real thing. So nobody should just summarize just because you do this is it. No.
Okay, so in this context, sorry sir, in this context, vehicle is different from assignment.
Yes.
So what would be the thin line, between purpose and assignment? How do you differentiate purpose from assignment? Okay,
assignment has to do with what you are doing part-time.
Okay. Because now we want to let them know how to identify their assignment and purpose, which clearly shows they are different things.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Now look at it. Your company now, ADBN, says you should go to Abuja.
Yeah.
They are not sending another person, they're sending you. So you are you. But now your assignment will be based in Abuja there. Have you seen assignment?
Yes.
You are an assignment. Mm-hmm. But that your purpose is still the same thing. So though the location have changed, the same thing you are doing here, you go there to do it. So for that season, for example, now as a minister of the gospel, a season comes in your life. God will tell you, go to the US. I want you to do something for me there. You are an assignment, special assignment to do the same thing that God will also have you to do in Nigeria. Okay, so assignment has to do with the vehicle. Okay, with that you are doing a particular, but the purpose is that which is the mother thing. It cannot change. It remains constant. Okay, but the clothes, the vehicle may change. Okay, every other thing may change about it, but the purpose still remains the same. For example, now you are a political person. Okay, you served as a local government chairman. That is your present assignment. In NYC, we say it's your place of primary assignment.
Yeah.
Okay, so after local government chairman, you serve maybe as a commissioner. That's the same you.
Yeah.
Commissioner, then state government, senator, okay, maybe any other thing, then president. The same person, but different clothes, different vehicle, okay, different offices, but doing the same thing. You are, your purpose is to do that particular thing, but in different places. So the assignment has to do with the same thing you are doing, but different platform, different places, different shirts, different looks, but the same person putting on different clothes, but different. So
you have to be able to identify your purpose before you know the assignment.
Yes, but many times also, you also know your purpose from the assignments.
Okay.
Yes, because like I said, there was no time I sat down to say, I'm this. Okay, but by checking the different assignments I've done over the years, I can now say, wow, this is this. Now, I changed different clothes, but there was something that is consistent, despite the fact that I've changed different clothes. Do you get it now? So even when I was a teacher, I had to start a student fellowship in the school. So that period, would I say I'm a teacher? No. Okay, but that platform was to do the same thing, but what changed was the platform. So many times you may be able to also know the purpose through the assignments that are reoccurring from time to time to time, but the main thing is that they are different.
So we want to welcome you who just joined us on One Faith on Advocate Broadcasting Network. Today we're looking at how to identify your assignment and your purpose on earth. And this is because every one of us, we have purpose, we have assignment that God has given to us. There's something inherent in you that God has given you. So you have to be able to make it operational, and this is why we are here today. So Pastor Dow, if we are going to itemize these things, how would you be able to fashion them? Okay, let's say, there are 5 different ways to get to know your purpose or how to identify your assignment. How would you make it known to our viewers, because we are so eager to learn?
Number 1 is passion. What are you passionate about?
Oh, passion.
Very, yeah, passion matters a lot, because why would I, as a primary school student, I had the same passion. I went to, in a secondary school, we started same fellowship.
Yeah.
Graduating, I started teaching, I started again. Okay, that means the same thing is driving me. The same thing is driving me. Okay, the same thing is driving me. Now, so with that drive,
yes,
I can naturally know that there's something I have never succeeded in separating myself with.
Yeah.
That is where I find fulfillment.
Yeah.
So that will be another one. The place where you find fulfillment. That place where you find satisfaction. That no matter what you do, until you do that, you are not contented. You are not even enough. You feel that you are not enough. You feel you are not giving much. Okay? This is something that you flow naturally. Okay? Have you seen? Another one is those things you do naturally, that thing that you do naturally. Okay, but I told somebody that I can actually talk from morning to night. As a matter of fact, in our camp, I teach for 12 hours, 15 hours straight.
Wow.
And towards the end, I feel like we've not started. I'll be like, we just started. And so another person will talk for 5 minutes and be like, what else would I say? Okay, so I thought the last camp we had, I thought for 12 hours. Okay,
yeah.
I thought for 12 hours, and I did not end up using my notes. Like,
wow.
They were like, Pastor, you didn't open your notes. I said, that's it. Now we didn't have time to open the notes. And it was just introduction. For 12 hours, I didn't end up using my notes. Okay, it flows.
Wow.
Now, do you know why is it so? Because those things, God put those natural signals, natural elements that I don't need to struggle in that aspect. It just flows. Are you getting me? For example now, you notice that this particular area, you are doing it because your friends are doing it.
Yes.
It's not. Because you end up struggling. Now, many times people mistake that thing. Because it happens to me sometimes. You are within some friends who do the same thing. Naturally, it rubs over to you. And then you think that this is me. But for a few months, they are not around. That you aren't doing anything. That means you don't have natural energy that area. Okay, so that's another way you can actually know that this is not your area. So it must be something you have natural drive for, where you find fulfillment, where you function naturally in without any stress. You don't feel stressed about it. It's very, very important. This is something that I'm doing, though I'm weak, but I can just do it anytime. Okay, because naturally it doesn't stress me. I can be stressed, but it doesn't stress me. Like, look, know the difference. I can be stressed, but as far as that thing is concerned, it doesn't stress me.
Okay, Pastor Dao, I'm gonna cut you short. Young people, a lot of young people have challenges with this passion thing that we talked about. You know, you get online, take statistics. There are people who have passion. They are passionate about a thing. But the challenge would be that this thing they are passionate about, it's not footing their bill. Do you understand? We're talking about being able to identify your assignment, your purpose. And someone is saying, I am passionate about this thing. And I have done this thing for how many years? And it's not meeting my need. Yeah. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So the person now begins to think, this is my passion. It's like it's no longer paying me.
It's not passion.
And you hear a lot of motivational speakers tell you, if that your passion is not putting money on your table, you should go and look for something else to do. So now, what do you suggest, or what do you advise young people to do? People who are passionate and this passion is not footing their bill, this passion is not putting food on their table, this passion has reduced them to beggars. What do you think these people can do? Because it can be very confusing when you say you're passionate. Now, Pastor Dao, when I was growing up, as an undergraduate, I did biotechnology, my first degree. I think I've gotten to share this on this show before. And it was something I didn't want to do, but I just saw myself doing it because my dad had died and my elder brother was seeing us through school. So I didn't want to go back and wait for admission again. So I just said, whatever course they give me, I'm going to study. So I did that in my first degree, did it very well. I came out with good results, but I wasn't satisfied. After that first degree, I went back for a second degree in public relations and advertising. And this is what I have always loved to do. Now we're talking about passion. So I am doing this and it's meeting my needs, it's footing my bill and all of that. So imagine that I began to do that thing I'm passionate about and I'm not making money from it. So it can be frustrating. So how do we marry it? Because we do not just want to learn, we want to be able to practicalize that which we have learned and make sure that it yields fruit. For a lot of people who are passionate about something and it is not yielding fruit, what do you do to that passion? Is there such a thing as twerking your passion to make sure that you dilute it in such a way that it makes money for you?
Okay, now very, very important. We should be able to separate career and purpose. You can actually make your purpose your career. That's where you monetize it.
You can make your purpose your career.
For example, you are monetizing yours now. That's monetization. Making it your career. But there are some. But even that I'm looking for, is there anyone that cannot be monetized? Even, let me even say this, is that easier, but it's also necessary that we look at it somehow. Okay. Okay. now look at something. Example, as you are here, you can monetize your purpose beyond even this list. The books you write. The books you write. For example, pastors monetize their purpose. Okay, they write books, they sell their messages, their audio platforms that you can't actually avoid. Okay, you have to sell there, and it's necessary for the work of ministry. Okay, monetization matters a lot. For example, those days, you know, I was into purpose discovery. We go to schools. Okay, at first we were not monetizing. My auntie called me and said, "No, you can monetize this." How? We have leadership trainings for students because notice a challenge that school prefects, they are not a trend. Just get anybody, give, and then we start training even school prefects. We start having sexual, gender talk and everything. She said you can actually, slash it. It's either the school pay for it or the students pay for it. Okay, have you seen the monetization? Okay, but the problem is that people get distracted most of the times. Focus more on the monetization and not on the fulfillment of purpose. And there is a way you also monetize it. It will no longer be accessible. People you are supposed to reach, you will no longer reach them. That's why most of the times the second option will now be get a career outside your purpose. But the problem also is the career can now overburden you. You will no longer have space for. So the balancing is the main thing. Keep your eyes focused, knowing that this is the essence of my life. The monetization is not the main thing at all. And if I'm to get a career, it must be a career that will not burden me to the extent that I will no longer be chanced to fulfill my purpose. Okay, so you don't need to quit your purpose because it doesn't feed you. No, you can get a career. Okay, and that's why you go to school to get career. So if after your certificate you can't foot your bill, there's problem. Okay, so whether purpose or not, you should be able to feed. Okay, so your certificate is there, your skills are there. That's another thing you should look at.
Pastor Da, how many people in Nigeria are feeding themselves with their certificates?
Now, look at
Pastor Da, take statistics.
No,
a lot of people, even people who did courses that you think are supposedly dignified, a lot of people have dropped their certificates and they are looking for what to do.
That's why I say get a skill. If your certificate cannot feed you, get a skill. I actually advise people today. I don't advise people to go to school if they've not gotten a skill. High institution, I don't do that. I tell people before you go to high institution, get a skill. Because our high institution today, even if you do a practical course, is purely theory that you're going to come out with. I know somebody that did computer science. No, now I know somebody that did computer science in a polytechnic. Not even if it's university, said maybe they don't have, but this is polytechnic, and she cannot on system. Are you getting me? So get a skill.
Okay, so
skills,
we have to be able to,
when monetized, can pay you better. If you can be able to monetize it well, it can pay you better than that your certificate. Certificates, so many times people don't understand why you actually go to school. Don't actually think it's all about certificates. The exposure. People don't understand. I tell you the truth. The school you attend matters a lot. If there's anything I would do as a parent is to invest in the education of my children. The school they attend to matters a lot. There are some contacts you make in school, your life will change for life. If you attend a school where everybody there, you are better economically all around, there was no exposure. So you must be intentional about what you go to school to do. You go to school to be educated. You go to school for another environment where you make great relationships. There are some students that you don't know that your course mates can be the one to employ you. Are you getting me? So don't just focus in the certificate. Focus in other things that you stand to gain in school. Purely the education and the relationship. These two things, and maybe the exposure. These three things are very, very necessary, even more than the certificate you are going for. Because it's not even people that have certificates that do something reasonable today.
So we have been able to establish the fact that if you have to be able to identify your assignment and your purpose, you have to check out for that thing you're very passionate about. And I am a strong believer, the fact that if I am identifying my passion has to pay me, Pastor Dao. I know probably you have a different opinion, but I love that my passion has to pay me. Don't look at me like I'm an Igbo woman, right? But Pastor Dao, my passion has to be monetized. At some point, it's going to pay me. So if you're here and you're trying to find that thing which you do excellently, that thing your mind is drawing you to, you can also be able to monetize it at some point. Now, we're talking about this because we want to make this very practical. I met a young guy, his dad died last month, and he was talking to me about the funeral and all of that. So I looked at him, he helps someone to sell some things in some shop, around where I stay. And so, the way you talk to a younger brother, and I'm looking at this guy who just left secondary school, and I'm thinking in my head, how long do you have to sell this to be able to help your home or your family? And I thought about it. It would be better that this guy gets skilled up, look for some skill and learn. That way you can be able to establish yourself and even get to teach people, down the line, instead of just being in a shop and selling for someone and the person gives you peanuts at the end of the day. And so he said something. He said, "Ma, I also have a challenge of transportation to where I'm going to learn this skill, number one. And number two, I also have to pay these people whom I'm going to be learning from." So people have their challenges. Talk is cheap most of the times. You can just sit down from somewhere and dish whatever advice or suggestion you want to give. But when you get in touch with people, you're able to also understand their challenges and how challenging or difficult these things can be. So number one, you have to find your passion. Number two, Pastor Dao, what other thing can we do to be able to get to identify our assignments?
Other things we can actually do. I think I should actually talk to parents. Very, very important. Very, very important. Don't be the parents that already designed what your children should be. You are not God. I think it's very, very important. Study your children.
Pastor Dao, this one is very well.
I have a friend. Even though he's not going about it the wrong way, he's repeating the same thing. He's angry with the dad because the dad pushed him into ministry. He said, if he allowed me to do that, my football, he said he was a good person. He was very good indeed. He said, at least by 30, I'm retired from football and I'll still do ministry. And you know what he did? He not said it before he even married, that, his children football by force. So once he gives birth, he's buying football and everything. Now, it can also be bad. Now, it's better you watch those children. Expose them to a lot of things. And that's why it's good, instead of it to expose them to the screen, use practical tools. Expose them. From there, you will get to know the one they naturally drive at. Then that is where you will not train them right from when they are little. Like I said, many times, you notice what the Bible does. These guys, what they do is that even before they give birth, they will go and make inquiry.
Yeah.
Find out. It's different from this is what I want my child to be. No, find out through prayers. What is this my child coming out to do? And if not through prayer, through observation, observe those children. What do they naturally want to do? Start on time to focus them there. Not so, in Nigeria, 30 years, you are still writing JAMB. Are you getting me? No, I mean it. By the time I was done, I couldn't do my NYSC. Because I was above 30. Are you getting me? I couldn't do my NYSC.
I remember the scenario. This movie actress, Omoni Oboli, her first son got married to one white lady at some point. I think the boy was 20-something when the boy got married. And of course, motivational speakers on social media. So they were saying, at 20-something, this boy is already married. He has how many degrees, and he's married, he has a job, he has things doing, and he can keep a family, and the wife gave birth to a child. And someone says, at 20-something, I'm still trying to write down.
No, it's true. It's true.
So how can you even begin to compare someone from this kind of location and the privileges that people have? Because, I mean, privileges differ, Pastor Dow. It's not everyone who is born, you know, in that kind of home where you're privileged to have that kind of exposure, where you're trained in that kind of way. For some people, they just have to be able to, you know, raise their head above the waters to be able to know what they even want. So I think where you find yourself is also very instrumental, you know, to your journey.
Thank you. That's another thing. Look at your environment. I tell people, when you understand that God is an intentional God, God didn't make a mistake in planting you where you find yourself. I know, you know, naturally, because of the economy, that Japa mindset is on everybody. Okay, want to just Japalize, okay? But the truth is this. You know, we've taught in our meetings, we've taught so much supernatural that I've come to understand that God supernaturally places you certain places. If God wanted to be born in the UK, he could have made it naturally possible. Now, I know you may not like it, but he's not God. He's not God. He's God. He's Almighty.
Yes,
God.
He is good.
Now, look at something. If you study the Bible, God, whenever he wanted to do something in Israel, he uses people there. That's why in Israel, they saw it as an insult to bring another, because they believe that God has given them enough resources, and enough human resources, human power to do those things. And that was where Moses' eyes was open. He said, seeing that these guys he has been looking at, that all of them have what it takes to build that temple. Both the one that will craft something, both the one that will design something. They were not going to Egypt to get those people. Now, that's one of the ways to discover. Look around you. What are the problems you are naturally driven to solve? Now, we are talking about natural purpose, because I will always talk about the supernatural purpose all of us have, which is the gospel, which is ministry. But today, that's not what we're talking about. Okay? We are talking about those natural dispositions that you have. So look at around your environment. What are those problems you can solve? Let me tell you the truth. Going to the university is a privilege. It's not a do or die affair. You must understand that. Even if you want to do that, you can do that later in life. But don't spend the whole of your... Like, I met a sister. I told her, this is your 5th year of writing jam.
Writing jam. You want to do medicine. You've written jam for 5 years. What's happening?
For that 15 years, you've got nothing to show. No skill. That's even the most annoying thing. And she's so determined. I want to do nursing. And it must be invested. I told her, look at School of Health. They even go for youth service. She said, no, 5 years is gone. Your younger ones, you get it. At that point, can't you help yourself solve problems? Later in life, you will do those things. Are you getting me? There are people who didn't get to do sometimes we talk about Nigerians. I told somebody, do you know that whites, they no longer go to school? If you talk to people who live there, they'll tell you that even there, the people that go to school there is blacks.
Yeah.
One of the things they do, like I said, the basic thing is the necessary thing.
Yeah.
The truth is that if our education system should do well, it's somebody that is done with secondary school should know a lot, especially at least the basic thing, communication. Because sometimes you see somebody who is done with university, ordinary communication, the person no fit do self. But the truth is that if primary school, if you attend a good school, primary, secondary school, you are done with the basic thing, and you can function well as an O-level student. Those days, our parents stopped, primary school, but yet they can speak better English, they can communicate better, they can do well more than somebody who is even done with university today. So my point is this: when you know that your family is not that privileged for high institution, God, don't kill yourself over it. Start solving problems today. Statistically, it's been proven. Okay, just be on social media. You know a lot of celebrities, people who made money legitimately. Who, if you talk about going to school again, they will laugh at you. They will tell you that the people that work for them. I know one. He was saying it, that none of his worker has less than first degree. None. And none of them also have second class. None of them. I watched that interview. I was wow. I think it was Daddy Freeze that was interviewing the guy. The guy said it from his driver to his PA to his cameraman. And he himself is a dropout. Are you getting me? So the basic thing is the main thing. Our purpose on earth is not to go to school. I don't think some of these purpose is to go to school. Now, get my point. Except going to school is essential in fulfillment of it. That's not what I'm talking about. But the basic thing, at least I've read actually somebody who became a lawyer from home. He studied. By the time he came out, he was worth more than them. Today, universities award people degrees. But my point is this: don't use the high institution as an excuse. That's my point. I'm not here to talk down on it. Everyone that knows me knows I'm even studying more, okay? But don't use it as an excuse. Develop skills. Solve problems around you. From solving problem, you get to discover that this is where you belong. Now, if you study the Bible, the basic thing you notice in the Bible is that these guys solved problems. When you talk about, as a pastor, I don't actually look at Noah's issue from spiritual perspective. Yes. That issue was actually natural. The supernatural is there, which is that skill, purpose, okay? But if you notice, that guy was to save his generation from flood. And this guy needed to be skilled
to be able to...
Just like today's architect. What are you talking about? For example, now in Nigeria, Bishop Edebo is an architect. Okay, so when he tells you, I was in a dream and God showed me, calm down. Okay? No, it's good I tell people something because sometimes people don't understand this. Okay? Naturally, as a fashion designer, you will be in your dream and you will see those things. Do you get it? So I want to understand the supernatural aspect of it. But you understand that the supernatural is for natural. There is nothing like it's because you're a pastor. It's not because he's a pastor that is happening to him. Because this is who he is. You see people that will tell you that as a mathematics teacher, they met hard questions, they went to sleep, and when they were sleeping, they received them, they came and solved it. So that thing can happen to anybody. So there's nothing too special about Noah. The main thing is that he discovered his purpose and how that he used it to work for God. There's a topic I would like us to deal with. I called it 2-in-1. He's going to look at what Peter talked about. He has made us kingly priests. Because we need to understand that your purpose is for a reason. Your skill is for a reason. Your assignment is for a reason. But my point now is that you read all these people in the Bible. For example, Samson. Today we have Samson today. We have a lot of them today. I was talking to my friend. I told him, by the time you read the Bible, you think that those guys are mysterious or something. Samson was a natural man like all of us. But he had supernatural strength. But remove the supernatural strength. That guy was a filthy guy. He was not innocent. He was a dirty guy. Let us be sincere. Now, when you look at today, we have people like that. You feel like, what is giving this guy the strength he's working with? Oh? Are you getting me? I had to mention one to my friend, but it is a big platform. I don't want to do that. Okay, so that people nothing. But we have people like that who fought for righteous, just. Okay, who fought for things, who still fight for things, and they died fighting for them, just like Samson did. He had the natural drive. He couldn't stay and watch the Philistines hurt his people. And then he discovered that whenever he was angry and was furious, the strength will come and he will destroy things. Now, look at what David did. David saw natural. The Bible says they called them the mighty men of David. The Bible said that they were ordinary, they were owing debt, they were abusers and everything. By the time David sat on them, the Bible now recorded that one person will stand at a place and he will use his sword to kill thousands of people at a place. 3 people invaded the camp of the Philistines, fetched water for David. David said, I cannot drink this water, because David knew the seriousness of what they did. That means if you can be able to start solving problems, you will be able to discover those areas. So don't just wait until you finish the university. That's my point. You can start discovering it as a little boy if you can start paying attention to your environment. Start paying attention to your environment. Start thinking about people's problems. Stop complaining about problems too much. In our time, we complain too much. There's something I learned early. For every problem, there's a solution. And problems are the biggest thing that have made people wealthy over the years, from Adam to our time. Wealthy people solve problems. You cannot be wealthy by committing crime, because wealth is sustained. So it is problems that you solve from time to time that will increase your wealth. So if you must be relevant in your time, don't just wait for God to appear in your dream. There are some problems that are around. That's why God, planted you in that place at that time. That means, and you have the ability, you have the solution towards them. If you go forward to solving them, you will end up discovering that, this thing I've been looking at and neglecting is actually the place I should actually fit into.
So, Pastor Do, I want you to speak to parents now, because we said parents have a role to play. My elder brother, we were in an argument one of those days, and he said that his children are going to, tilt towards sciences. And we were asking him, why is he mandating them to do science? He said they will do the sciences, and when they are done, they can now go and do whatever they want to do. But that he's going to have them do sciences because he's here and he understands how things work around here. So, and I know there are a lot of parents, who you're paying the heavy fees, and the way you're struggling to make ends meet, and you're sending the children to school because you have planned your life, and you also do not want them to be stranded in the society. So you will tell yourself, you will sit down with your spouse and tell yourself, this is what I want this child to be. And looking at it from your point of view, this is not sinful. I mean, this is good.
This is the best.
This is what is going to bring returns to the family, right? And but this child of yours has some other conviction. Is going towards some other line. That child feels like, this way you want me to go, this is what you want, but this is what I want, this is what God wants me to do. So I want you to speak to parents who are in this kind of scenario. You have something you want your child to do because you have looked at the country and looked at the society, the way things are going. You're like, I think there's some kind of light at the end of the tunnel when this girl or this boy toes this line, but it's not the way the boy wants it. What do you have to say to these parents? What can you actually tell them? You also said that you have to talk to your children. You have to also understand, like my 5-year-old right now said, Daniel, what do you want to be? Today he said, I want to be a soldier. The next day he wants to be something else. So some of the times, these children even need guidance, Pastor Dow. Even a 10-year-old still needs guidance. But my 10-year-old actually has discovered what he wants to be, because we started quite early. But there are children who do not even know. They are confused. And there are also parents who are bent on wanting the children do what they want. Yeah. So in this kind of situation, what can you advise parents to be able to do?
You don't ask children yes or no questions.
Yeah.
No, you don't do that. Don't do that. Interaction. Because the truth is that if they watch movie today, they'll be like, I want to be an actor. They see a driver, I want to be a driver. They see a neat conductor, say, I want to be a conductor. Okay? Then you don't ask them yes or no questions. Even if you want to find out the truth from children, you don't even ask them, did your teacher beat you? If he hates the teacher have already beaten him. What are you talking about? You just ask him what happened. Are you getting me? Oh, I noticed your shirt is bended. Wow, that means you've got a lot of experience today. What must have led to this? The child will pour out to you. Now, look at first thing, expose your children on time.
Yeah.
Like I said, expose them to different things, different tools, different skills. Then watch them, interview them, ask them questions. If you are smart enough, you get to know from their distress, from what pleased them. Ask them classes they attended, how did they see it? By the time you are done with first term, second term, you observe their attitude towards each class.
Yeah.
So most of the times it starts with observation. First, I said expose them first. Number two, now observe. Observation, you now ask questions, real-time questions. Now, I tell people, even people in relationship, I tell them the truth. Don't ask somebody, how many children do you want to give birth to? Do you want a male or a female? Don't do that.
Why is that?
Anybody can package anything. Except another thing to do is if you can be able to ask the same question different ways. But the best way to know the real thing that is in people's mind is observation, storytelling, and crafty questions. When I say crafty questions that do not come directly. Okay, for example, you tell your spouse, you tell your fiancé, now I was coming out today, I saw one woman like this, she was carrying 3 children, and she said that the husband said this must be a female. Now I wish I'm the husband, though. I will even support it, though. Then you say, honey, what do you think? Your wife, she will not be like, it's true now. What are you talking about? You give birth to, what is female? Do you get it? Now you've gotten the truth. The same thing with children.
But I think if you know the way this person reasons as an adult, you can be able to, put it on the table. If you know that this is the way this person's line of action is, you can be able to have that conversation. But with children, I think what you said works.
Children, yes, because human beings are diverse. Actually, there are people who are straight to the point, they don't even get time. Okay, but children, storytelling works for them.
Yeah.
Questions that are, that are very, very, strategic work. Then observation. If you can do this sincerely with an open mind, and then prayer helps.
Do we have Bible characters that we can refer to in the Bible, like parents who, strategically brought up their children in that kind of
yes
way? Please, let's have them.
We have Samson.
Yeah.
We have Jesus. These are strategic ones. We also have more. Now look at the role Mordecai played in the life of Esther. He looked at Esther. He says, Esther, you have something.
Yeah.
When it was time, he exposed. And that's what some parents don't know. Don't complain that your children don't do things well. Expose them. Take them along. Take them along. If your child every time he says, I want to be a carpenter, I want to be a carpenter, and yet he keep breaking chairs, don't say, is that how you become a carpenter? Take the child every time. Tell the child, I have a friend somewhere, come, let's go. Then you would find out if he doesn't have passion there, bring him home, then find out that thing. Because you are trying to be part of it. Okay, now look at the role Mordecai played. Every time he kept talking to her. Don't you think? That's fashion parade they talked about the other day. The way I'm looking at your physique, you are good there. You get it? You are suggesting.
Yeah. She
picks interest. You are now involved. You take her there. Tell the person, come, let me help you. Come, please. After today, come back. I will give you food. What are you doing? You are creating relationship directly for your children to do well in that field. Bible said that she now got favor in the hands of the person that was taking care of them. So you see that direct involvement or indirect involvement helps. So you see people like Mordecai, people like the parents of Samson, the parents of John the Baptist. Now look at what Paul talked about Timothy. He says, your grandmother, your mother, two of them, Louis and Eunice, they worked hand in hand to see that you become the person. That's it. As of a child, you already knew the scripture. So they saw it on time. Then you now look at the children of Jacob. He knew all of them practically. You notice that day, many years later, everything he said about all of them fulfilled. And why? Bible told us on time that they always make inquiry. That was how they were able to know. Right from the time of Abraham, the thing was there, following. It wasn't the other time we looked at how that the Old Testament, they gave them names based on their purpose. Adam's name meant something. Seth meant his purpose. Notice that all their names they gave them actually were definitions of their purpose here on earth. Okay? So when you understand this, you will know that there will be examples throughout scriptures of parents who were very intentional about the purpose of their children, and they guided them to become such.
Okay, Pastor Dal. So we have parents, we have young people, we also have bachelors, we also have students who are listening to us. What general advice would you give them in line with identifying their assignments and their purpose? You just spoke to parents right now.
Now, okay, talking to young people now, people who are now independent, okay, it's very important we understand this. The truth is this: your purpose is essential for you to live here on the earth. Until you discover and walk in them, you'll be living a fake life. You will end up comparing yourself with other people. Now, look at what I mean. For every gift you have, for every talent you have, for every opportunity that you have, for every privilege that you have, they are all pointers to your purpose. If it is so, then why should you not take it serious? Why shouldn't you take it serious? It is time for you to stand up and own up your responsibility. If you don't own up your responsibility, those things will die in your hands. And look at something about it. Now, you notice something, and that's why I love talking about it from this angle also. Notice that when you talk about ministry or even our daily life, whether you talk about having a microphone, okay, imagine the person that produced microphone, what the role microphone is playing today in our generation. Whether you say it's airplane, what role is airplane playing in our generation? Okay, so whatever you find your hand doing, do it well. Get the skills that are related to it. Get the education that are necessary for it. Don't just relax and say, no, this. No. Be serious with it. Get the skills, get the training. Go for the best. Be the best. Stop comparing yourself with other people. Look inward you. What are those skills that you have? Sharpen them. Don't take it for granted. And that's why I also tell people, when you go to school, don't go to school because your parents want you to go to school. Go to school with a sense of ownership, responsibility, and become one with it. Okay? Then put in the best, knowing that you actually needed to be the best in that which you are doing. So get the skills that are necessary, get the exposures that are necessary, surround yourself with people of like mind. Don't be this person who surrounds himself with the wrong people. You will end up becoming the shadow of yourself. But when you focus, when you find yourself around the right circle, they will be the ones to encourage you to be the best. Okay, they will always be the ones to encourage you to be the best. They will expose you to better opportunities. That's something that supernatural relationship does. Okay, it has actually helped me. Okay, being in supernatural relationships helps me a lot. They are the one that will expose you. They'll be like, okay, you like this thing. There's something I saw. There's an advert I saw the other side of the road. There was a banner I saw. I think you would like to attend that conference. You would like to attend that, that training. So by surrounding yourself with the right people, they will keep directing you towards your purpose, towards discovering, sharpening them. But when you surround yourself with the wrong people, you will always be distracted. So if there's anything you have to do for yourself and for the good of what you are carrying, is this: surround yourself with the right people. Be in the right circle. Don't always be found around the wrong people. They would, talk you out of your purpose. They will deceive you, and you will see example of such people in the Bible. Okay, people who allow themselves to be deceived. There's something I mentioned the other time when we were talking about disciples of Jesus and Peter. We noticed that when Peter was joining the circle, he joined with his friends. There's something about it. And when they joined as friends, they walk, hand in hand and fulfill purpose together. That means the friends that God has given to you also, they are going to play a special role. So don't look down on your relationship. Don't look down on the skills you have. Sharpen them. Be at the right relationship. Meditate over your life. Have an introspect of your life from day to day. Examine your life, and it will help you to become better, discovering your potentials and maximizing them.
Thank you, Pastor Dao. It's been an inspiring time. So we want to get back here on our next episode and hear testimonies of how you have been able to identify your passion or identify your purpose and assignment. Thank you so much. We love you. Stay tuned. Bye for now.